We've heard a lot about judges and courts that left kids with no voice. But there are judges here in LA County trying to improve things, like Judge Michael Nash, presiding judge of LA's Juvenile Dependency Court. Robin asked him about the many problems facing the system.
The single greatest obstacle to the highest quality work in this system for everybody are simply the numbers that we have to deal with. So, number one, we have a high number of cases that the courts have to deal with. Number two, the lawyers who work in these courts that represent children and families, their caseloads are way over what they ought to be. There are some who would say that the number of cases that each attorney has to deal with is beyond that number that provides for, or that should provide for, competent representation. That makes for a system where everybody in the system is stretched. Now, if you look at the dependency court on a daily basis, each court has to handle somewhere around 20, 25, 30, 35 cases per day. If you translate that into the amount of minutes per case, it's really you figure it out. You figure it out yourself.
Doing the math, that could be as little as 6 or 7 minutes per case,
or less. That really leaves a very small number of minutes to really talk about the incredibly substantive and important issues that we have to talk about with respect to every child and every family that comes before us on a daily basis. And that means that the type of work that is done is often, I like to call it superficial at best.
Are we in red alert times for the Department of Children and Family Services and the Dependency Court? Are we in a crisis?
We view the children in this system one child at a time, and we do the best that we can, or attempt to do the best that we can with the limitations that we have for all the children. So are we in a crisis mode? Yes. We have always been in a crisis mode, and for my money, we'll always be in a crisis mode until we have no children left in this system.
Now, Judge Nash praised the dedicated workers in the court and DCFS. He told us the amazing thing is that what we do it as well as we do, but unfortunately, it's clearly not good enough. Now, you spoke with him. Is it bottom line they're just overwhelmed?
Well, first, it bears to note that Judge Nash is the presiding judge of the Dependency Court, and the Dependency Court is the court where people lose custody after there's been allegations of sexual assault, abuse, neglect. The Family Court is a different court, but so often what you hear people say in family court is, oh, they're just using the system. They're saying abuse in order to gain advantage in family court. And I asked Judge Nash, I said, do you feel like it happens often that people come to this court trying to get some advantage in another court? And he said, no, I don't believe that happens as much as people think. So I think that that's an important point, because you think that if there's all these manipulative moms out there and there's all these people trying to work the system, wouldn't they be coming there too? That's the court that takes away parental rights.
Now, we did an interview with a judge who also believes that they've been told, be suspicious of women.
I think that's a prevailing attitude. I think that there's fathers' rights movements have gained a lot of gusto. I think that they've come across with this pseudo-scientific words called parental alienation syndrome, which has no scientific backing whatsoever, but courts find it to be a sexy kind of label and kind of have hung on to it. But just like Sandusky, just like Paterno has shed light on sexual abuse and the fact that, ladies and gentlemen, it really does exist. Right. Hopefully, by covering this story and looking at these cases, people will see that this does really exist.
Talk about it, yes. And coming up, we'll hear from a children's advocate who's been working to bring more attention to the kids lost in the system.